Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit up to $250. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back, all from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 11 at Pimlico on Black-Eyed Susan Friday is the Hilltop Stakes. 3-year-old filly is going a mile on the turf. Let's take a peek at this field. It is a big field. It is a competitive field. You can go various different ways. I won't be surprised, however, if Bubbles on Ice, the number 5, goes off the favorite based on her North American debut for Christophe Clement, where she ran them all down in the Memories of Silver Stakes with a very respectable 81 buyer.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways that could make her the horse to beat that. I mean, if nothing else, that was a pretty good field that she beat in her stateside debut. Now they come right back into another stakes race. This field is probably just as good as that one, but she beat some good horses last time.
There should be some pace in here to set her up. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector. They're expecting red bar, which means fast pace. Proper attire, the 4 has shown speed on dirt. Whether she can transfer that speed to the grass, I don't know. I know the 13 Phantom Vision stretching out off a couple of sprints is going to show good early speed. She should contribute to the pace. I think Speed Lane's going to rate a little bit. Another horse, Double Fireball, Mike. Horse has shown speed on dirt. I think she'll be close as well.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how fast they wind up going, Dan. It's a big field with, several horses who want to be forward. So it certainly could get heated up front. We'll see if it actually does.
Very confident placing by a Hall of Fame trainer. Shug McGahee's going to run a maiden in here. The number 1 Tracy Flick has been disqualified in both starts. Why, you might ask? Well, check out the antics at Keeneland in her second lifetime start, a race in which she finished second, beaten a nose. You see Tracy Flick in prime position right now. It looks like she's going to go by the pace setter, and she just decides to take, well, I believe for her, that's a right-handed turn. And now she's just going to continue those antics in the stretch. She obviously has ability. She's getting blinkers on for the first time. But perhaps the best reason to like her is that Shug wants to run her here.
Yeah, and it does feel like, Dan, if nothing else, the blinkers have to help this horse. She can't get out of her own way in her first 2 starts. We showed only the last race. Go back and watch her debut, too. Took over that race. Decided to shift in and bounce off the rail on the upper stretch. She has no idea what she's doing, but she can run, and she's well-bred. And just as you say, just the fact that Shug's running her here got me interested. I will use this horse.
Jimmy Toner trains the number 2 Seasons. He trained her second dam, Memories of Silver, a millionaire. He trained her dam, Winter Memories, a millionaire. And he's trained Seasons, a debut winner that ran quite well in her second lifetime start. Let's watch the daughter of Tappet in the Grade 1 Natalma going a 1-turn mile. I talked to Toner, and he said she just had trouble finding her own way in the early portion of this race, just sort of picking her way through the ground. We're going to see her finally pick it up at the end of this race and finish 3rd. There wasn't a ton of pace on. Alda, who's also in this field, is going to finish 2nd ahead of her. I like that Seasons ran on a little bit at the end of this race, still a little green. She's now been freshened. Maybe she grew up a bit over the winter.
Yeah, you would hope so. She has a big pedigree, and she showed she really showed some talent as a 2-year-old, Dan. And she was very green, I thought, in both of her starts. The Natalma, she wasn't going to win that race, but she was very green in the stretch there. I thought she did well to get 3rd. Even her career debut, I think, is a better performance than it looks. I mean, they bet her off the board in there like they knew she was good. She won that race easier than it looks on paper, Dan. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more to come from this filly. Maybe we won't get it right off the layoff, but I think this filly's good.
We saw Alda finish 2nd in the Natalma, a good effort considering the horse that beat her got the pretty good jump on her, turning into the stretch. I won't hold the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf against her. She was very headstrong in the early portion of that race. She sprinted off the layoff. I think that was a really good prep for her to get back around 2 turns, and Graham Motion's putting Lasix on.
Yeah, she makes a lot of sense in this race, I guess. I didn't think she ran great last time sprinting, but maybe she just needed the race off the layoff, Dan. I like the fact, too, that in her longer races, the 2 times they went longer with her, she has more tactical speed. She doesn't get outrun in those races, so I felt like she might be able to fall into a trip here.
Proper Attire, the number 4, is going out for one of the hottest barns in the entire Mid-Atlantic region. It seems like they're winning every race. Proper Attire deserves a shot in this race because she's won 3 in a row. She's going to try turf for the first time. Her sire, Imagining, was a very good turf horse who started out okay, 5 for 28 with first-time turf runners.
Yeah, that's a pretty good sire. I just didn't find any turf on the bottom of this pedigree, Dan. It just makes me wonder what we're going to get with this horse off the switch and the stretch out and the big step up in class. A lot working against her, but I guess she'll just be a huge price.
Bubbles on Ice kept very good company in a couple of Group 1s last year in Ireland. Let's watch her first start in the States for trainer Christophe Clement. The memories of Silver Stakes, and we see her coming widest and fastest. Javier Castellano took her right to the rail out of the gate, settled near the back of the pack, and she goes past these horses fairly easily and then holds off the late and determined bid from Fluffy Socks.
She ran well in here. I thought she overall got a really good trip and ride, but again, this is a good field. And Fluffy Socks, the horse that's making a late run at her there, it felt like she fired a pretty good shot, Dan. And Bubbles on Ice didn't let her get by. I think a repeat of an effort like that one makes her very tough right back.
Mia Martina's first 2 races I thought were very impressive visually, just a strong stretch kick in both of those outings. In the Florida Oaks, she fell very far behind, as she is wont to do. She moved up inside on the turn, got to the outside. It was a little bit too late with that late kick. Jouster, the pace-setting runner-up, came back to win the Appalachian with an 88 buyer. I talked to Graham Motion. They said with that pedigree, they had to try the dirt at some point. They tried the Gazelle. The good news after that debacle is she didn't come back any worse for wear, and she's been working well supposedly for this start. She needs help up front.
Yeah, she's going to need a trip in this race, but you know, we've already seen the pace projector and it's a big field. It feels like she could get some kind of a setup in here. I could go either way on this horse, Dan. I think her turf form is okay. I can't say that I love it, but she's certainly run pretty well in her turf races. I just want to see what kind of price she winds up here. Irad taken over. It feels like there's a lot of things that could point people in this horse's direction, and I just wouldn't want too short a price on her.
Serenity Kitten has won 4 of her last 5 races. Let's go back to Gulfstream Park on April the 9th. This is a starter allowance event, and as you see, the rail opens up like the Red Sea. Serenade Kitten's going to shoot right on through. She's going to win with a 73 buyer speed figure, even though she's still a little bit green. This is way tougher from a class perspective. She's sharp, but she's going to have to continue to improve.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to argue with her connections taking a shot here. She's won 4 of her last 5 races, and she's 2 for 2 off the claim for these connections. So they're going to take a shot here. I'll be surprised if she's good enough, but we'll see what happens.
I think the 8 Il Malocchio has got a little bit of a puncher's chance from the back of the pack, returning to turf for trainer Kenny McPeak. This horse was a stakes winner going 2 turns on Woodbine's inner turf last year. She got a beautiful trip and ride and winning that Victoria Queen. And then she ran a good second in the Princess Elizabeth on synthetic. So she has that sort of form. She's got a couple of races this year. Does she have to improve? Yes. But maybe with the right setup, she can at least get a piece.
Yeah, and if nothing else, I mean, they're coming back to what feels like the right surface for her, Dan. I mean, her last 3 starts all on dirt. She hasn't run particularly well, in my opinion, in any of those races, but this could just be the right surface for her now because she did run well on turf as a 2-year-old.
Now, Phantom Vision has already tried 2 turns on the turf. It was at Gulfstream. She kind of had the right pace setup as the favorite, but also she didn't break. So it was a situation where you break, you rush, you rate. Maybe it was just too much for Phantom Vision that day. They've cut her back sprinting. She's run some good races sprinting. Personally, if they go fast, I'm worried about her, but something tells me she might be there still when they turn into the stretch in front.
I mean, maybe she will. She certainly has figures that say she's a contender in this race. I didn't necessarily want her stretching out, especially if she has to go fast early. But we'll see what happens. She's got a very good trainer in her corner, and she does have some ability.
The Russells send out the 14 Out of Sorts, first-time turf, first-time Lasix. Another by a sire that really relished the long. That dramedy, when they stretched him out to marathon distances on the turf, got very, very good. He is 0 for 10 with his first-time turf runner. It's too early to tell. Dam's thrown a turf winner. Tough post position, especially off the layoff.
Yeah, to me, this was the most interesting horse sort of switching surfaces in here. Again, this horse showed some talent on the main track and has a turf pedigree. So I feel like this horse could really take a step forward in here. But, man, the post did her no favors. It's not like it's some kind of easy spot to make the switch.
Could go so many different ways in the Hilltop. Let's take a look at our top selections. Mike, you could go with Seasons in here, the number 2. You're going to go over Tracy Flick, the 1. She's green. Seasons is going to have to deal with a layoff, but with that pedigree and potential, boy, sky's the limit.
Yeah, I mean, both of the top two picks for me, Dan, are horses who not only do they have to take a step forward here, but they got to sort of get themselves straightened out. They're both very green, or at least Seasons was as a 2-year-old. I just expect her to be a much better horse this year. And I feel like she's going to fall into a trip. She's got a great post on the inside. I think she's going to fall into a trip. And I don't think she has to improve that much to contend with these horses.
I wonder if she needs the race off the layoff. Mia Martini has recency. She should get a pace set up. I like her a little bit more than you on the turf. I like the way she's been finishing off her races. Bubbles on ice, very, very logical. I think we're both fascinated to see what sort of antics Tracy Flick brings. Blinkers on for Shug McGahee. 21510 for Mike, 6513 for me. The Hilltop on Black Eyed Susan Friday. Good luck.